Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports. Well, where are we now that Pete Alonso is a Baltimore Oriole? What do the Mets do? Where do the Mets go from here? If you saw my live feed on Substack, and it's still posted on my Substack newsletter site, I gave you my thoughts on Alonso going to the Orioles. I think it's a perfect fit. I had written about it in the newsletter on December the 2nd, that Alonso and the Orioles would be a great fit. And it's funny because I broadcast the University of Hartford men's and women's home basketball games with Jeff Dooley and Brian Mick, who is the Senior Associate Athletic Director at the University of Hartford and is as baseball savvy a fan as I know. As I'm walking out of the Chase Family Arena on Tuesday night, he turns to me and says, the Orioles are going to get Alonso. And he was right. He was absolutely right. And you knew the Orioles were going to get Alonso once they lost out on Kyle Schwarber. They offered Schwarber 5 years, $150 million, and Schwarber said, no thanks. I'll take that same offer from the Philadelphia Phillies, the team for which I had been playing. And so the Orioles turn around and they give Alonso a 5-year, $155 million deal. And kudos, by the way, to Scott Boras, his agent. He gets it done again. But where does that leave the Mets, who in a 48-hour period have lost Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso? And remember, the Mets went out and got Juan Soto last year. The attendance went through the roof at Citi Field, and their owner, Steve Cohen, we're not talking the Wilpons here. Their owner is a multi-billionaire who has deep pockets, so you got to figure the Mets are going to make a big splash somewhere. Now, I'm hearing talk that maybe Skubal goes to the Dodgers. Will the Yankees go out and get Skubal? The Yankees have done nothing so far, although I wrote that they are a perfect match to get Skubal from the Tigers. But I don't rule the Mets out of getting Skubal. The Mets are going to make a splash, whether it's Skubal, Kyle Tucker, or maybe both. Because remember, they didn't even give Alonso an offer. Diaz, at least they made an offer and supposedly came up $3 million short. But they never made an offer for Alonso, the all-time home run hitter. So they've got to have something up their sleeves. It's more than just we're going to let the farm system take care of it. That's not Cohen's way. It's not going to be the farm system with Cohen. Cohen is going to use the farm system, but he's also going to go out and he wants to be like the Dodgers. And if he's going to be like the Dodgers, he's going to have to spend. And that means do something big. Now, I had written for the Yankees to get Skubal, they would have to not only acquire him, but then get him to agree to a long-term contract. Because remember, Skubal is in his walk year. I don't think the Mets have to do that. I think all the Mets have to do is get Skubal. They have the prospects to get Skubal. Now, what the Mets have to do is, because Skubal is going to become a free agent after the 2026 season. Remember, Scott Boras is his agent, and I don't think it's going to happen any other way. What the Mets have to do is get Skubal, obviously agree, try to negotiate a long-term deal, although you know Boras is going to say no, but get Skubal, pay him what the Tigers owe him in the final year of his contract, and then go out and say to Skubal, once you become a free agent, because he's going to become a free agent, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Once you become a free agent, you come to talk to us last, because we're going to top any offer that the Dodgers give you, the Yankees give you, any big market team, we will top any offer. The Red Sox, if they want to spend again. And I think that's what's going to happen. The Mets could get Skubal, bite the bullet and say, look, we know we don't have him long-term yet. It's a rent a player for a year in his walk year, but we will sign him to that long-term deal. So we'll see what happens, but I don't see the Mets standing pat. I think the Mets are going to make a splash somehow, some way. These aren't the Wilpons. This is Steve Cohen who owns the Mets, and I think before all is said and done, the Mets will make some moves to appease their very anxious, their very worried fan base. We shall see. That's going to do it for Dan on Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you later.